how are you connected with SCAP and or SPF?
My name is Kasia Valens, and my son Luca has been a member of SPF Junior for 3 years now.
What do you feel is a challenge you face connected to substance use?
The biggest challenge has been watching how many kids in the middle schools in Somerville are vaping. It's been really upsetting.
Why is prevention work in Somerville so important?
Because the temptations plus the disease of addiction are omnipresent, and you guys are faced with so many opportunities to think through how to make good choices and bad choices, and it's really important that you have the tools to do that.
What do you think community members can do to support prevention in Somerville?
Support SPF. But I think talking to each other is probably the most important thing.
And do you have any prevention ideas you want to share with us?
I think expanding programs like this are really fantastic, and I think student-to-student, peer-to-peer contact is really the most effective.
Thank you for talking with us. Here's another ticket for our raffle. Please enjoy the presentation.
Thank you.
How's it going?
My name is Ariana, and I'm an SCAP junior leader.
And my name is Michael Johnson. I'm also an SPF Junior Youth Leader. Maybe ask you a few questions for our red carpet activity.
Sure.
Okay. First, tell us your name and how you are connected with SCAP and or SPF.
My name is Jesse Klingon. I'm the Ward 4 City Councilor. I've been following the work of SCAP and the SPF team for a long time. Actually, before I ran for office, a lot of my work in the community was around addiction prevention and some of the great work you guys are doing. So I try to get to this every year. Unfortunately, I can't stay the whole thing this year, but I'm so proud of you guys, all you guys, especially the kids that live in my ward and the kids that grew up with their mom. So good to see the next generation of kids stepping up. So.
What do you feel is a challenge you face connected to substance use?
I mean, I would say nowadays, I mean, just with regards to all the pressures that you guys have with like social media and technology and stress and like the testing, I think it leaves you, unless you have a strong support network, it could leave you vulnerable to trying things that, you probably shouldn't. So it's really important that, you guys make sure you practice great self-care, and hopefully, you can overcome those challenges.
Next, why is prevention work in Somerville so important?
For me, I mean, that's the root of it, right? We have, as you know, at the larger level, we have this opiate epidemic going around the country. Other things are on the rise, stress levels are on the rise. And so prevention, to me, is getting to the root of the problem. It's the most important piece. To be proactive rather than reactive is really the best way to go, and it takes the least resources, and it's the most important.
What do you think community members can do to support prevention in Somerville?
Community members, come to events like this, show the kids that this is important, that they really value the work that you guys are doing. I know that for me, I've studied some stuff around prevention in terms of prevention can mean everything from talking to your kids, having dinner as a family at the table, practicing mindfulness, just practice, making sure you have good, healthy practices, and again, mostly talking to your children, and making sure that checking in with them, making sure they're all right.
Finally, do you have any prevention ideas that you would like to share with us?
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, I know that you guys are pretty up on the latest prevention techniques, but I would say, I think as a whole, as a society, as a school system, I think if we could take 5 or 10 minutes to practice mindfulness in the class, I think just to have that sort of important, sort of peaceful come down time. And when you're in transition, I think it can really make a difference and give kids the tools and the techniques they need to be able to calm themselves down when they do get worked up, so they don't turn to unhealthy choices.
Yep.
Thank you for talking to us, and here's another ticket for the raffle, and enjoy our presentation.
You guys are doing great. Michael, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Let me just get my pin here.
My name is Ariana. Ariana Ray, and I am an SPF junior leader.
And my name is Michael Johnson, and I am also an SBF youth leader. And can we ask you a few questions for our red carpet activity?
Sure.
First, tell us your name and how you are connected to SCAP and or SPF.
My name is Renee Scott, and I am Vivian Scott's mother. She's a junior SPF.
What do you feel is a challenge you face connected to substance abuse?
I would think peer pressure would be a big one. Probably access would be another big one.
Next, why is prevention work in Somerville so important?
Well, we have a lot of kids, and we're an urban area, so it's not just in Somerville, but it's, surrounding towns are easy to get to, and so you have a lot of different ways to be influenced to use drugs and alcohol or not.
What do you think community members can do to support prevention in Somerville?
Well, I think coming to events like this is probably really good. I don't know, some sort of mentorship, or I think really probably finding safe, fun places for teenagers to hang out is probably maybe the most important thing, where they feel like they can be there and have fun and not have to, sneak off to a park or, not be welcome in a park, or I would think.
Finally, do you have any prevention ideas that you would like to share?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
The ones I've heard about so far seem really good that you guys are working on. So.
Okay. Thank you for talking with us. Here's another ticket for our raffle, and please enjoy our presentation.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Good evening, everyone.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Okay. Welcome to the Somerville Cares About Prevention's 15th annual meeting.
Shall we introduce ourselves?
My name's Lily Pendleton,
My name's Ariana Ray.
and we're both from the Somerville Positive Forces, also known as SBF, which is a program of SCAP.
This is our first year as SPF leaders. We have both learned a lot about youth substances use, and we know it's a very big problem.
We have a very important goal to save people's lives by spreading awareness and information about substance abuse, for example, tobacco, alcohol, and drugs.
As a collision, we have done lots of research and many projects to help make a positive change.
Thank you for all being here tonight to learn about our important work and to support a difference in the world, starting with prevention in our community. Now let's take an opportunity to thank Mayor Joe Curtatone and the City of Somerville for their continued support.
Now we'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Brian Green from Somerville Board of Health.
Is this one on? All right. So thank you. This actually really is a great honor to speak with you guys and with the rest of the community too. You guys are actually on the cutting edge of public health, and we'll talk about that, I hope. And I also want to applaud you for your bravery in asking me to speak, because I've never done one of these keynotes before, so who knows how it'll turn out. And apparently, because I can talk about whatever I want to, I'm going to talk about Tom Brady and Beyonce and Queen Victoria's sewage system. So I get to do that kind of fun talk because I do public health, and public health touches on everything. So I also know that you guys, most of you didn't really come here to hear me talk, so I'm going to try and keep it short. So in the interest of a good public health message, buckle up. Okay, so the real question I want to know is what makes people do stuff? Like start smoking or eat healthfully or vote. So there are a lot of answers to what makes people do stuff, and because your generation is dealing with some public health issues that are big, like increasing mental illness and troublesome with addictions, and some resurgence of diseases that used to be almost gone, like measles. Figuring out what makes people do stuff is really important. And a lot of people have a lot of theories about this, and we're going to talk about some of them. So for those of you who are students, the main answer that people try to address for what makes people do stuff is education, sort of knowledge and ignorance. And the adults in your life kind of hope that acquiring foundational knowledge will help you make wiser decisions as you go along. When you take chemistry, one of the things you might learn is that mixing chlorine with ammonia causes poisonous gases. So you don't want to mix cleaning products up. So maybe you learn that in chemistry. That's kind of an important thing. Or maybe you'll learn that with some basic math that casinos will basically take your money, and bringing your money to a casino is a bad idea if you want to keep it. So that might help too. And there's really a lot of important stuff you're going to learn in school, and it's going to help shape your decisions. But the bad news is it doesn't work all the time. From my standpoint in public health, it's clear that a lot of people who have math still don't really understand the risks and benefits of vaccines, or whether or not they should go to the casino, or gun legislation. So I don't think the casino in Everett's going to go out of business when the MCAS scores go up, but I'm hoping. So outside of school, there's kind of the business model that says, okay, well, people do stuff because you pay them. And the more you pay them, the more likely they are to do stuff. And this way of understanding the world is nice because it's simple and it gives us the sense that we're in control. And it's stupendously wrong. People actually don't pay much attention to how colossally wrong it is. But just for an example, if I said to everybody here in the room, I'll give you all $50 if you raise your left hand. Yeah, why not? That's pretty easy. But if I say I'll give you $50 if you can come up here and explain to me Einstein's relativity principle in Norwegian, a lot less of you are going to jump up and do that. It's not really comfortable. And the more, well, I'll make it $1 million. Still isn't going to do that much. People do stuff because they believe in it, because they like doing it. And if they can get paid, that's nice. But mostly, unless it's really simple, stupid stuff, people don't get motivated much by money. So I said I was going to talk about Tom Brady. So as a side note, I don't know if you guys know this, but Tom Brady has a contract with the Patriots that he gets paid $1 million if he ranks in the top 5 quarterbacks in pass completions or total quarterback ranking. There's 5 different metrics. There's percentages, total touchdown passes. Anyway, he gets $1 million for each one of those things if he can hit it. And last year he made how many of those? He made $15 million base salary. But how many of those metrics did he make?
4.
0.
Yeah, no, 0. He won the Super Bowl. He was, now probably the best quarterback in the history of football. But that particular set of metrics he did terribly on. He took home nothing. And it raises the question, why bother putting that in his contract in the first place? It's kind of crazy. I would much rather he try to win than to make lots of short passes so that he can get more money. So anyway, money doesn't really work all that well. So economists, people who study money, they actually come up with a slightly different version of this. They said, for a while anyway, they said what makes people do stuff is money and also self-interest. So if we can feel better about stuff, then that'll help. And they thought, self-interest and money kind of go together. And this is true. It took them a while to figure out that that's not the case, that people actually don't do a very good job of making decisions on their own self-interest, and they're not very good at math either. And so one of the guys who explained why this doesn't work, a guy named Kahneman, won the Nobel Prize in 2002. The Nobel Prize in economics went to somebody who said, you know what, we don't do this well at all. All right, so that's that stuff. Classic public health, for what it's worth, from my perspective, we tend to think that people just do bad decisions. They make bad decisions all the time, and our job is to try and prevent them from doing that. They'll engage in risky behaviors, they'll start drugs, they'll start smoking, and just a little another side note, I said I'd talk about Queen Victoria's sewage system. So in Queen Victoria's time, sewers were designed to move water around, like bring water in or take water out. But they didn't really understand that you would want to keep those things separate. So, you know, things would go out of your house and then would come back into your house for brushing your teeth, which they didn't really do. So there was a famous, the beginning of public health, there was a pump in a place called Broad Street in London that basically had a cesspit dumping into it. Think about that for a minute. Just like icky stuff coming out, and then people filling up their water buckets with it and bringing it in the house and drinking or bathing with it. So the guy who figured this out, a guy named John Snow, he figured out that this was a problem, and he went and said, you know, you guys should stop using the pump. And they did what? They kept using the pump, yeah. So then, this is the first big moment of public health. He went and he took the handle off the pump, so they couldn't use it. And that stopped the cholera outbreak in London and saved lots and lots of lives. So that's the public health perspective, just kind of prevent people from doing stuff. And then the last group I want to talk about is advertisers, because they actually make money by helping people do stuff that they probably shouldn't do, by really trying to make people do stuff. And so advertisers think, you know, what would be cool is if we get Beyonce to drink Pepsi on camera, then maybe everybody will think that they want to drink Pepsi. And the more of your friends who drink Pepsi, the cooler that looks. So advertisers actually think that people are motivated by what we call peer pressure. And you guys have probably heard adults in your life saying, you know, you got to watch out for peer pressure. But the dirty little secret is that actually adults are just as susceptible to peer pressure, if not more. And when election season goes by and you see people put their signs that say vote for Pedro out on their lawn, that's not because somebody's going to walk by and think, oh, you know, Pedro has really brilliant ideas for the country. They just see, oh, 60% of my neighbors have a Pedro sign outside, so I should vote for Pedro too. So that's kind of the last thing, is we all look around and see what our neighbors and friends are doing. And Pepsi works. I mean, Beyonce drinking Pepsi really gets more people to drink Pepsi, unless you are smart enough to know she doesn't really drink it. I mean, you know, on camera she drinks it, but in her own life she doesn't. And it also isn't really good for your teeth, and it's not good for your physique, and it's got all kinds of other problems, right? Which brings us back to education. You can educate people and help them stop that loop, which is where I started. So here's the thing. There are lots of answers to what makes people do stuff, but none of them are completely right, and none of them are completely wrong. And what really works is to do all of these things together, to pull on all of these levers at once. So I'm on the public health part, and we do the stuff like take the handle away. We try to make legislation so that kids don't get easy access to cigarettes. But you guys are the ones who are actually doing the work, who are helping other kids understand and are doing the education. And it's all of that. It's the education, it's the peer pressure, it's the public community support, it's the parents, it's the mayor, it's the public health department, it's all of that working together that allows us to make improvements. So it's really important that you're all here, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Mitchell. I'm the Prevention Services Manager here at the City of Somerville. And at this point in our program, we typically go right into my section, but we wanted to recognize our folks from the Board of Health who are here with us today about some of the efforts that they've put in. So I'll explain a little bit later in the slideshow exactly what they really did, but back in December of 2018, especially with the increase in e-cigarette usage for adolescents and the use of menthol, mint, wintergreen flavored tobacco, they voted unanimously to restrict the sale of those products only to 21 plus stores, effectively taking them out of convenience stores and other stores that are open to youth exposure. So as Dr. Green was talking about, the hope is to decrease the access and decrease the exposure to youth so that we can really take on this epidemic here in Somerville. And we were the first in Massachusetts to do so, and once we get through our litigation, I think all the other cities and towns will probably follow suit shortly thereafter. So I wanted to take a moment to recognize their great effort and their dedication to public health and give them a recognition. Both Dr. Green and Robert are here today. Paula Machado was not able to make it, but we'll make sure that she will get hers at the next Board of Health meeting. So if you guys want to come up, we'll take a picture. I got yours here too, Robert. There you are. Yes, right, I guess I'll be in the middle.
You want to be in this?
No, right. Yes. Yes, I was gonna do that now. Yep. All right, so we're gonna go right into our main portion of the program. First, I do want to recognize the local counselors that are here tonight. I did see Counselor Matt McLaughlin at one point. I don't know if he's still here. He did have to leave, but he was here. And I do see Counselor Jesse Klingon here, so just give it up for those guys. Unfortunately,
I have to leave as well. I had a conflict with the resident staff meeting, but I appreciate all the work you kids do. Really, really proud of you, and just keep it up. Thank you.
thank you very much. So, as Dr. Green kind of talked a little bit about, prevention is the action of stopping something from happening or arising. So, Somerville Prevention began as a community coalition to address growing concerns about youth and their exposure to and the use of harmful substances. The idea was to challenge and change what we long had considered norms in society. Such thoughts include everyone's doing it, it's a rite of passage, smoking's no big deal. These were the things that many heard growing up and in some ways still hear today. And a few generations have heard this over the years. But that thinking is mostly not the case now. Thanks in great part to the work of the prevention here in the city and these youth here who do a lot of work throughout the school year from basically October through June. And we'll highlight a lot of that stuff today. But I really want to emphasize that we take prevention seriously here. And as you'll see, our accomplishments will reflect that. So, how that works and how that happens is partnering and collaborating with individuals in the city. So here's just a list of all the individuals this year. It's not inclusive of past years, but all the individuals, entities that we worked with throughout the year. So the Somerville Police Department, the public schools, our parent-teacher associations, Somerville Media Center, SCAP TV. You'll see a little bit more from them a little bit on too. Teen Empowerment, who always speak up for the youth voice. I see them back there. Recognize you guys. Cambridge Health Alliance, our Main Street associations, which we'll get into shortly. Our Connection, which is a faith-based organization here in Somerville. The 84.org, who does great tobacco and youth prevention work. And Health Resources in Action, who help kind of kick a lot of this off. So, Somerville Prevention Services is kind of where I work. It was formerly known as the Office of Prevention, so if you still see that around, we just kind of gave it a little bit of a fresher look. The logo looked like it was from 1992. But under Somerville Prevention Services, we have SCAP, which is Somerville Cares About Prevention, which is the community-based coalition that Lovely, who's over here, organizes and works a lot with the youth, as well as myself and Bonnie. Bonnie Carroll, she works for the Six City Tobacco Initiative, and she's going to talk a little bit later on too about some of the work that we're doing. So this is the big thing that the Board of Health got their recognition for today. This is Doug and I on the news. It was interesting, to say the least. I hope, Doug, I hope that picture's okay with you. It's hard to take a screenshot, I'll just say. So, back in December, as I mentioned earlier, the Board of Health voted unanimously to restrict the sale of menthol, wintergreen, mint, flavored tobacco, and electronic cigarettes to retail tobacco stores exclusively. So, back in 2015, 2016, we had restricted the sale of flavored tobacco to these 21-plus stores, but menthol, mint, and wintergreen were an exception. And we wanted to close that loophole, particularly with mint and menthol flavored products targeting some disenfranchised populations. So, you know, the LGBTQ community and the African American community were disproportionately targeted, much like Dr. Green had talked about earlier, to get lifelong customers. And so we wanted to close that. And it talked a lot about youth and youth having that flavor and that cooling sensation that makes it a little bit easier to smoke. And we didn't want that to be available or exposed in places where kids really go, which are convenience stores. And then also electronic cigarettes. So we had seen about a 6 to 7% jump in the use of electronic cigarettes for high school students between 2016 and 2018. That's actually the quote that I'm saying in that picture right there. That was the one quote I got on the in that thing. The mayor beat me out, but I guess I'll defer to him on those. But that's a big jump. You know, it's almost double, and we really were concerned about that, and we take it very seriously. So one of the strongest ways that we know to address that is through policy, and thanks to our great Board of Health, we were able to make that happen in December. And like I said, I hope other cities will follow in our footsteps. So, other prevention things that we're doing. So the tagline is we focus on alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, and other drugs. And one of the other drugs that we talk about a lot is opioid use and heroin use. And we all know that there's been quite the epidemic over the last several years. And one of the things that we wanted to do was start giving free trainings to the city, open to all businesses, residents, city departments, whatever it may be. And so Sarah Harris and I, who's the public health nurse manager, we partnered and we developed a presentation and we hit the road. We go to small businesses, people, wherever they may be, and we give presentations on overdose prevention and how to how to administer naloxone or Narcan. And so far, we've trained 176 individuals since about November. And that'll be by July 1st because we have some scheduled. So if you haven't seen it, let us know. We'll get you some information. We've distributed about 106 naloxone doses. So this is what naloxone looks like for those who aren't too familiar, but this reverses the opioid impact on the brain, where the brain will be overwhelmed by a drug. And we really wanted to make sure that people had access to this because a lot of the non-fatal overdoses that have been occurring have been a result of having widespread access to naloxone. So our Health and Human Services Department, we've made a commitment to getting naloxone into people's hands as much as possible. And we will continue to distribute and train people as we go through the summer and going forward until we really start seeing a big change in the epidemic. So I just wanted to highlight that for folks, and it's something that we're excited to continue doing heading into the summer. All right, hashtag nip it. So I don't know if people have heard a lot about this yet, but we are working with our substance abuse prevention collaborative. All right, I'm already getting some claps, all right. So we had heard a lot of feedback from individuals about the widespread littering of these items across the city. So we're referring to them as small alcohol bottles, but we all know them as miniatures or nips, and many of their shooters. There's a lot of different terms for them. And so what we started doing some scans around the city. So we looked at liquor stores around those areas to see if people were primarily littering them around there. And then we started expanding it out to youth-friendly areas. So that includes parks, playgrounds, public transportation, schools. And what we found were that it is all over the city in all different places. And if you actually didn't get a chance to see it on the way in, there is a map out there where we've tracked every single one that we found. If you've seen me walking around taking pictures and picking up nip bottles, don't think I'm crazy. I'm actually gathering all of those for evidence for a project, I swear. But Lovely and I, we've been really taking this on, and we've been trying to work with the liquor stores as well to kind of address this problem at the root, and they've been pretty receptive to that. So we met earlier this month to talk a little bit about some brainstorming of ideas that we could do, that they can do, and that they can reflect to their customers. So one of the things that these guys will be working on at some point is a photo voice project around NIPS, where they will talk about how that impacts the youth, especially with the exposure in these areas where we really shouldn't be seeing advertisements for alcohol. And these aren't blatant like Beyonce advertisements, but they're on the ground and they're out there and people can see them. So you can send them if you see it. I'm going to make a shameless plug. If you see any, please take a picture. You can email it to me. I'll give you some contact information as well. But you'll start seeing a little bit more of this probably in the next couple months. So do your part. So back to the opioids and national prescription drugs. So Somerville participates in National Prescription Drug Take Back Day. So it happens twice a year between in October and April. And what we do is we encourage individuals to safely dispose of their medications at 2 drop-off sites. So in October of 2018 and April of this year, we gathered about 270 pounds of returned medications. So I sit up in the police station one Saturday morning or 2 Saturday mornings, and then Patty Contente, who is a social worker with our Somerville Police Department, she's up at one of the fire stations, and we really are encouraging folks to return them. And if they're unused or they're expired, you don't need them, really get rid of them because it can really impact people's usage. And then also what we've done is we partner with all of our pharmacies to distribute about 1,000 safe disposal guides for unused or expired medications. So these are just safe guides so that if you don't know where to dispose of them or you don't know how to dispose of them, you would get that and they're attached to the prescription. So luckily we have very good collaborative partners in the pharmacies, and they were open to doing this, and we hope to continue doing it going forward. So some of the other things that we've done to just bring people together. We had some World Cafe prevention discussions, which was part of our student health survey trivia. If you don't get to that, you really should. It's our YRBS annual event that's usually at the end of January. It's where we kind of test folks on the data that we're seeing in our student health surveys that we administer. And there are some surprises when people think, oh no, it's got to be this answer, and then it's not. So that information, it's also available out there on the table and online, and we can send out the link to folks, but it's a really good event that we always host in January. Community conversations. So this year in this room, actually, we had a conversation about marijuana vaping in youth. It was really hoping to talk with adults about kind of what vaping is, or e-cigarettes, what marijuana is, and how they intersect. And so that's available thanks to our great communications department on YouTube. We can send it out as well. But we're trying to get more of these going and trying to get as many stakeholders in the room to start understanding how we can address this at large. As part of our role, we also have trained 17 restaurants or liquor stores and underage alcohol trainings as part of their onboarding and when they get their license. They meet with me. Previously, they met with Lovely and Bonnie before I came on. And we just talk about kind of what they should look for and how they can contribute to making sure that youth aren't getting alcohol. And then National Night Out. So last year we had our, I think it was our 15th annual. So this year will be the 16th annual, and it's at Foss Park. And it's a pretty good time if you guys haven't gone to it. There's a lot of activities, there's a lot of tables. There's the pool there, which you can use, which really isn't part of our event, but it's a nice add-on. There's food, there's presenters, there's entertainment. And last year Parkour Generations came, and they brought like all their stuff to jump on, so just saying. But these are some of the events that we had this year, and we're going to continue to look and developing events as we go forward heading into the new year. And by new year, I mean our new fiscal year. But we did, and we do have some breaking news coming soon. The Bureau of Substance Abuse Services Office of Problem Gambling had just given us, or intend to give us, a grant, a photo voice project, where this will be working with youth to kind of do a little bit of what we were talking about with the NIPS and see how that impacts the youth, but also now with gambling, especially with that large presence that looms over us over in Everett. And we really want to make sure that we take this on. So starting summer 2020, I feel like I'm doing a teaser out there, folks, but look for that to come out soon, and we're really excited about how we can kind of take that going forward. We're partnering with Everett and Malden as we're the surrounding communities on that. So it's going to be exciting. Lovely's going to be a large part of that as well, and we're hoping that it results in some good things. So This is where you can find us. I mean, we've been featured on all of these things, especially for our rock stars of the Board of Health with the regulations that they changed. But we've been featured on all of these entities, and on the bottom you can find where you can follow all of us. So on Facebook, Somerville Cares, and Instagram, that's where you can see all the lovely littered nip bottles that I post on there, as well as lovely. It's a pretty good resource for folks who just want to kind of access and know what's going on in the world of prevention here in Somerville. So with that, I believe I just want to thank everybody that supports us, the City of Somerville, Mayor Curtatone, the Community Developed Block Grant, who gives us some funding for these guys to do the work that they do. Department of Public Health, the Bureau of Substance Abuse Services, and the Massachusetts Tobacco Cessation and Prevention Program. That gives us Bonnie, who gets to do a lot of the great work that she does. So we really want to thank these individuals and these entities for doing the work that they do to support us. So with that, I think I will now turn it over to the SPF youth again, but I'll be available afterwards if you guys want to talk about anything. So. Do you want both? Okay. You can help us. All right. There you go.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Lovely Helen Blutari, and I am the program director with Somerville Cares About Prevention.
Hi, my name is Ishavita, and I am an SPF 100 leader.
SPF stands for Somerville Positive Forces, and it's an award-winning youth development program with over 20 youth leaders. Many of them here tonight, and all working to reduce peer drinking and drug use by promoting protective factors and reducing risk factors.
The SPF mission is to support social change that empowers youth to make healthier decisions regarding substance use. The vision is to create a community where youth are seen as assets and have opportunities and experiences that foster positive youth development and leadership.
This year, SPF conducted more than 23 prevention projects to address youth substance use issues on a community level using environmental change strategies that are science-based and data-driven. While planning and conducting these initiatives, SPF leaders gain valuable leadership and development skills.
Not only did SPF conduct annual projects that have proven effective year after year, we launched new ones too. This year, SPF came together to identify new challenges youth are facing around vaping and marijuana.
Tonight, SPF Junior and SPF 100 will share some of their projects and details and accomplishments with you. We're extremely proud of all of their achievements, and may their presentation help you better understand their work and its value, and may it inspire you to continue to support prevention and youth leadership in Somerville. Now, please welcome our SPF Junior youth leaders. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Cole.
I'm Vivian, and you're both SPF Junior youth leaders.
SPF Junior is a group of middle school youth leaders that work to create a healthier community. Each month, our group met to learn about and plan projects to prevent alcohol, tobacco, and vape use among youth.
Every day, we witness the social pressures and curiosity among our peers that can lead to drug and alcohol use. As leaders, we want to help people in our community learn about important issues to help youth make healthy choices.
This year, SPF Junior worked on 10 prevention initiatives to promote a healthy community to live and work and play. These efforts reached thousands of community members, and these include the Highlander Rules Freshman Guide, We Are Somerville campaign, team and skill building, holiday sticker shock campaign, tobacco prevention training, Kick Butts Day, Photo Voice Stories, SCAP annual meeting, the 84.org, tobacco and e-cig prevention, and presentation skills.
While we don't have time to cover all of our projects in detail, we are happy to share some photographs and highlights with you tonight.
SPF tables. We had many SPF tables at many events each year, including the Just One Run 5K. This event is organized by the Ryan Hangton Foundation to raise money to help save lives from addiction. At this event, we gave out prevention information and invited people to participate in our We Are Somerville campaign, which works to build positive self-identity.
At the table, we laid out stickers and buttons like these, and we encouraged people to draw themselves and write 3 positive things about themselves, then wear and share their positive characteristics.
Most people, including adults, do not spend enough time to think about the positive things in their lives. We Are Somerville helps them take time while being also creative.
This project works to build positive self-esteem and invites community connections. Both are protective factors for substance use. Hundreds of people visit our tables to learn about prevention and create a We Are Somerville button.
One of our favorite projects is called Sticker Shock. We love this activity because we go out into the community to spread an important message. Did you know most teens who report drinking get alcohol from an adult over 21? Well, guess what? If they can't get it, they can't drink it. And that's what Sticker Shock is all about.
Our Sticker Shock campaign remind adults to not share alcohol with youth during the holiday seasons and celebrations. For this, SPF partnered with liquor stores to put stickers on beer and paper bags with the message, "It's illegal to provide alcohol to people under 21." SPF 100 leaders placed table tents and coasters in bars and restaurants too. This project helped educate thousands of adults in 7 different languages.
Did you know youth who drink before the age of 16 are 10 times more likely to suffer from addiction? Social host laws protect youth. You can help too. Please take care. Don't share. Parents and families, take the extra step to lock it up. The last SPF project we will share tonight is our Kick Butts Day project. For this, we learned about tobacco's tricky tactics targeting youth, the harms of tobacco use, and the deadly consequences. Then we chose messages to share with the community about smoking harms and positive social norms. This year, some of our messages included: most SHS students don't smoke, 97% don't. Nicotine decreases oxygen to the brain. Vaping chemicals equals popcorn lungs. And 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
We wrote these messages in chalk on the sidewalks next to the high school, city hall, library, and bus stops, so that high school students and others would see them and realize that most don't smoke, understand the harms of tobacco and vaping, and have the support to quit. Everyone of the teens coming in and out of school read our messages. They couldn't miss them.
The Somerville Times also printed an article about our project in the newspaper. In one afternoon, we promoted good health to thousands by this fun National Kick Butts Day activity. You can help us reach many more. Please share the harms of tobacco use and support those who want to quit smoking.
All of this work would not be possible without a strong team and training. We started to build our team on day 1 during interviews. We need to show our potential of why we should qualify for SPF Junior and show how we could work as a team to make a difference.
Throughout the program, we built our individual and team skills with various activities like icebreakers, the human knot in building a tower out of paper and unstable materials. These helped us learn about ourselves and each other and showed how well we could help each other learn new things and how well we were able to work with a team.
We won't ask you to be a human knot, but how about a quick icebreaker? Turn to someone at your table, introduce yourself, and take turns answering this question for just a minute. Why is youth prevention so important, and what's one way we can help youth? What's the most embarrassing thing I've done? Okay, thank you for trying out that activity. We hope you enjoyed it.
We also had many trainings like the one by the 84.org to help us prepare for our projects, like Kick Butt Day. We would like to share an activity from this training with you now. To participate, please stand if you think a statement is true and stay seating if you think it is false. You can raise your hand if that is easier for you. Get ready. Vapes only contain water vapor. That is false. Despite many misconceptions, vapes do include the addictive chemical of nicotine and many other harmful products that are hazardous to a person's health. They also have chemicals in them that can cause cancer. They're still being studied, and it will take a long time to determine what the long-term effects of using these products are. In the meantime, people who use them really have no idea what is in them.
Our next statement. Vapes can lead to smoking regular cigarettes. That is true. Youth who are regular vape users are 4 times more likely to smoke traditional cigarettes. This is actually scary when you think about it, because if the youth who are using today end up starting with regular cigarettes, they could potentially be smoking both.
All right, the next question is, or statement. Teens vape more than they use other tobacco products. This is true. A study showed that the percentage of teens who used e-cigarettes within the last month in Massachusetts was 23.7%, and the percentage of teens who used cigarettes in the last month was 7.7%, showing that teens in fact turn to e-cigarettes more often.
Okay, pretty good. Thanks for playing and thank you for listening. We hope you learned something new about our work and will share it with others to strengthen our community. Now we will turn it over to SPF 100.
Great work. Yo, this is. Great. Great work. Please give a round of applause to SPF Junior. Hello, my name is Trey.
Hello, my name is Megna, and we're both SPF youth leaders. SPF 100 is a group of 10 high school students, some are present here today, that represents a youth voice in the SCAP coalition. Over the last decade, SPF has worked very hard to create positive change around underage drinking, drug use, and related concerns, like mental health, wellness, and self-identity among youth.
Each year, we carefully consider teen issues and review student health data to plan prevention projects to help our peers. Tonight, we would like to share some of our project highlights with you.
With the support of our partners, SPF 100 has conducted over 12 different prevention initiatives this year to promote good health in Somerville. We conducted shoulder tap surveys in Davis Square and sticker shock all around the city to prevent youth access to alcohol. We also created prevention memes and helped create drug facts to promote awareness among teens during National Facts Week.
This winter, we conducted alcohol nip scans to help us design prevention posters to post in stores this spring. We tackled misperceptions around teen health behaviors through our YRBS student health event and Most Don't campaign, and educated hundreds about prevention at various community events, including the Teen Club Fair, National Nights Out, and Just One Run.
With our traveling photo voice exhibits, we made a visual story of our work to promote prevention, our messages, and youth leadership. Finally, we helped organize tonight's annual event to celebrate the importance of prevention in Somerville.
While we don't have time to share the details for all of our work, we would like to share a few with you now.
First, we want to share our Most Don't campaign. SPF 100 knows building a healthier community means conquering unhealthy beliefs. To do this, we launched our annual Most Known campaign at Somerville High School to correct misconceptions around peer substance abuse.
This campaign is so important because many people mistakenly think that everyone does it. Our campaign aims to fight this kind of indirect peer pressure and let teens know that most don't use these substances. In fact, 83% of SHS don't use alcohol, 83% don't use marijuana, and 87% don't vape.
In just a few weeks, our message reached over 1,000 students. Since starting this campaign, data shows beliefs are shifting. Today, more students know that most don't, and they share this knowledge with pride. This positive shift has supported the largest drop in alcohol use.
Your support is critical to lasting change. We need your help to keep all teens drug and alcohol free. Please share Most Don't.
Lovely, along with 5 SPF leaders, went to the State House in Boston for Kick Butts Day, Massachusetts. They joined hundreds of youth leaders from across the state through the 84 movement, all working to prevent youth tobacco use and vaping. Leaders rallied at the First Congressional Church and marched onto the State House chanting, "Menthol is a flavor too, I believe it, how about you?"
At the State House, SPF visited all offices of their state representatives to share the tricky tactics of big tobacco and vape companies that target youth and the widespread harm caused by using their products. Then SPF shared packages of information with prevention practices that can protect youth.
We were able to educate our state representatives by giving them some messages. Some of our messages include, the CDC, U.S. Surgeon General, and the FDA all agree that vaping is an epidemic.
In addition, youth are targeted by big tobacco companies who make their products cheap, sweet, and easy to get. But thanks to the Tobacco 21 and pharmacy ban, these products are now harder to get. The FDA banned flavors, but menthol, mint, and wintergreen are flavors too, and are still available in vaping and tobacco products.
In addition to conveying our messages, we asked representatives to look over our info packages and visit our neighborhoods to learn more. Thankfully, all the representatives we visited supported our work and our messages.
SPF 100 also paired with SCAP TV to create PSA raising awareness about potential risk factors leading to vape use among youth. At SCAP TV, SPF leaders learned how to properly operate a camera. For example, we practiced taking it apart and putting it together. We also practiced how to take pictures and film.
Together, we brainstormed many ideas for video topics, such as having a slideshow play with testimonies from people who have suffered from substance abuse. Our final product showcased deceptive tactics or strategies vape companies present, making people think vaping is safe. Through this PSA, we show others that vaping is addictive and can lead to serious health problems.
Our partners at SCAP TV, Heather and Isabel, helped us turn our ideas into reality. We filmed in front of the studio green screen and had puppets as our characters. One of our characters, Darth Vapor, targeting teens with sweet flavors and cool packaging, as well as a Susie scientist who debunks vaping misconceptions.
After filming our PSA, we created voice-over recordings and made edits to our footage. Working with SCAP TV was an amazing experience for all of us, as it helped us gain exposure to all different types of prevention methods. Thank you all for listening to our work this year. Now we would like to share our PSA with you. Please enjoy.
Cigarettes have been plaguing society for far too long. They are known to cause cancer and do extreme damage to your lungs and body. That's why we have taken a stand against them and are providing a safer, cleaner alternative for those of us who still want to look cool and confident. Vaping. Vape pens are refillable and customizable, and pods and juices come in a variety of fun, natural flavors. Who are you?
A scientist who actually knows the truth. Allow me to break this down for you. Vaping can be just as harmful as smoking, and this guy may pretend he is against big tobacco, but big tobacco just invested almost $13 billion into a popular vaping company. Well, vapes and e-cigarettes are just a brightly colored, fruit-flavored repackaging of almost all the same chemicals you can find in cigarettes. just because they don't contain tobacco doesn't mean that they don't contain other toxic chemicals and carcinogens, because they do. In fact, one Juul pod contains the same amount of nicotine as just one pack of cigarettes. And you're 4 times more likely to start smoking actual cigarettes if you start out with vaping. So don't be a puppet controlled by big tobacco. How about you make some smart decisions?
Okay. So as you can see from our many accomplishments, SPF works very hard to improve the lives of Somerville youth. Listed are some of our favorites. SPF has promoted positive identity and community connections, helped prevent adults from giving alcohol to youth, promoted positive community norms, reduced misperceptions around pure alcohol, marijuana, and vaping among students and adults, raised awareness around tobacco's tricky tactics, guided teens in recognizing their strengths and values, promoted the value of prevention and youth leadership, raised awareness around the harms of vaping, and helped reduce teen drinking and drug use in Somerville.
Yay. Together, we've accomplished a lot over the last 15 plus years. These are significant impacts that are measurable through years of steady decreases in risky behaviors, lending to healthier choices among Somerville teens. Most notably, underage drinking has dropped from 43% in 2002 down to 17% in 2019. Wow. Marijuana use dropped from 28% in 2002 down to 17% in 2019. And tobacco use dropped from 21% in 2002 down to 3% in 2019.
This is due to the dedication of SPF, SCAP, and our coalition's many members and partners, along with community organizations and the work of so many others present tonight who are fighting this very important fight. We sincerely thank you because this work does save lives. We hope that you will continue to help us build a healthier community for youth and adults in Somerville. We greatly appreciate your support and hope that you too see the importance of prevention work, youth leadership, and the effectiveness of SPF youth leaders in those efforts. Up next is Bonnie Carroll. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. As you heard earlier, I'm the Tobacco Control Officer for the City of Somerville, and I just wanted to say again that there's exciting big changes that happened in Somerville this past year, and we can be proud that Somerville took the lead with this and was courageous enough. Our Board of Health was extremely courageous enough to start a trend that is now being considered by many municipalities across the state, and even some outside of our state are calling to find out how we did what we did, because they want to do it too. So given the vape epidemic that we're all up against, this is a very exciting step in the right direction to protect our youth. So we have a lot to be proud of. As you heard, Somerville restricted all menthol tobacco and all vape products to adult-only tobacco retail stores. So I just wanted to tell you just a brief idea of what that is. Explanation of what those stores are. That means that in those stores, no youth can even cross over the threshold or they will get a ticket. So that means that our youth are not seeing these products in the convenience stores that they go to. They're not in the gas stations. They have to go directly to an adult-only 21 store for anyone to purchase those. So, for example, if a youth crosses the threshold, even if they don't buy the product, they just cross the threshold into that store, I can give them a $300 ticket, and they'll come before the Board of Health. So this is very strong, strict regulations that are going to do a very good thing for our youth. And there's only 2 of those stores in the city of Somerville, so you can imagine how much reduction that has caused. Okay, secondly, I wanted to tell you that what my job is to visit the stores, every store, in all 6 communities, and to basically inspect the stores and make sure that they are following the regulations for that city. So in Somerville, because we were about to make sure that this regulation went into effect, between December and when it did go into effect on April 1st, all 83 stores in Somerville were visited. And this is the most fun part of my job, because it's not, I have to do the enforcement piece of it, which is very necessary. It means taking people who violate these regulations before the Board of Health. It means giving them a ticket. Sometimes they lose their permit to sell tobacco products for a certain length of time if they're found to repeat these violations of selling to minors or of selling to products that they're not supposed to sell. So that part of my job is very important, and it's useful. But the part that I find the most fun is to do the education that comes with this. So the 2 visits that I made to these stores, some more than 2, but all 83 were visited at least twice between the time the regulation was put into effect and the beginning of the regulation date, the start date. I visited all of them, and the fun part that I was getting to was to talk to them about why we do this. Because as you can imagine, some of the retailers are very upset that this has happened, because they're thinking about their profit. And I get to explain to them that the Board of Health's job is not to think about the profit of the stores, but rather to think about the health of the community and the protection of our young people against being exposed to these products. So, and I feel really happy that often I get them to turn around and see it from a different perspective. So I consider that a very fun part of my job. And for others, some of them even told me, as I was telling them why we do this, that they have young people of their own that they want to protect from these products. So, they can turn their attention a little bit towards the reality there. And the other thing that is very interesting, and some of you in the audience may not have heard of this, and I tell this to everybody I possibly can, so you pass it on, you do the same thing, but there's a video, a YouTube video, a very short video called Black Lives, Black Lungs. And this is a profound video that tells you how Big Tobacco actually targeted communities of color with menthol products. And so when I tell that to the retailers, that's also something that they're very interested in hearing. I've never had any of them say that they didn't like that. They usually tell me the next time I see them that they did watch it. So, and my third point tonight is that I'm going to give an award to a young person who unfortunately can't be here. This person I want to appreciate tonight, though, is very special. Her name is Sabrine, and the reason I want to appreciate her is that part of my job, as I said, is to train young people and send them into the stores to try to buy these products. And the reason for that is so that we can see which stores are violating these regulations and keep on top of them. So I train young people to do this, and she is a 17-year-old young woman who has been going into the stores, and she's a very mature and conscientious young woman. She's a tireless advocate for what is right. Just to give you an example, she's writing a paper right now on environmental issues and what we can do about it. And so I often take the young people when they're with me to, whatever they want to do, Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, for a treat as they're out. And she brings her own mason jar with her because she's not going to get throwaway cups. So she's a wonderful young woman who does a great job in helping me. I consider her truly a partner. And unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight. And the reason she couldn't be here is because her boss called her and said that he really couldn't get a replacement, and so rather than leave him stuck, even though she was going to get an award, she went off to work. So, but she'll get it. I'll give it to her the next time I see her anyway. If you ever see her, her name is Sabrine Zahid, I'm sorry, and she's a wonderful young woman, so thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Michael, and I am an SPF Junior Youth Leader.
And hello, my name is Sylvie, and I'm an SPF JR leader.
Thank you all for joining us this evening.
These awards go out to all the hardworking people and organizations that have helped our coalition work this year and in past years.
These awards show our gratitude to the ones that help us to make all important SCAP prevention work happen, and this section is for that acknowledgement.
And thank you again to everybody included in these next slides and countless others who supported our work.
Our first appreciation award goes to the 84.org. The 84 partnered with SCAP to help educate SPF with important facts about tobacco and e-cigarettes.
Todd and Edgar with the 84 were extremely kind to our groups and provided information about risks and appeals of vaping and big tobacco trickery tactics targeting youth.
The 84.org stands for the 84% of youth in Massachusetts who did not smoke during the time it was founded, but now that statistic is up to 93% of youth that do not smoke because of their hard work and dedication.
Through their new partnership with CVS, the 84 work gets local through health resources and action to visit different cities and school educating adults and students about their messages, and resources to fight big tobacco and vape companies targeting kids.
Ultimately, the 84.org has helped SPF Junior, SPF 100, and Somerville students tremendously throughout this year, which is why they deserve this appreciation award.
Please accept this award and our gratitude.
Slide over. Thank you again.
Our next appreciation award goes to an organization that partnered with SCAP to help with our World Cafe discussions at our YRBS Student Health Survey event, participating in both discussions and helping to facilitate discussion to help give youth voice to important youth issues.
Not only that, every year they put on an amazing show called the Peace Conference, where they share important prevention messages and call in our community to come together and to take action to support youth health and well-being.
We want to recognize teen empowerment for their continued partnership and support in promoting youth voice and leadership for raising community awareness around important issues that impact youth. Ultimately, your work helps make Somerville a better place for youth to grow up and make important change. Thank you so much for all of your work to help youth in Somerville.
Do they get an award? them.
Hello, my name is Alexis and this is Kate. We are both SPF 100 leaders.
This next award is for an important group at Somerville High School working to promote teen health and well-being with a special focus on teen mental health this past year.
We want to share our gratitude for the support they have offered to our work this year, especially their help with facilitating our World Cafe discussions at our YRBS Student Health Survey event.
Emma Brenner-Bryant and a pair of her dedicated youth leaders, Sarah Sweeting and Kenya Arbeza, who led critical discussions to dig into the root issues interfering with teen mental health wellness. Tonight we wish to present them with our Partner Appreciation Award to express our sincere thanks for their support.
You're amazing, THA. Please come on up to accept this award with our greatest gratitude.
I don't think that they were able to make it tonight, but we'll give it to them another time. Our next appreciation awards go to Heather McCormick and Isabella with SCAT TV Youth Media, two amazing partners. They taught SPF so much about media literacy, PSA production, technical camera skills, and how to use media to give youth a voice and make positive change. And they went above and beyond PSA production to help support us. For instance, Heather offered us space to talk about issues of racism in our community, and Isabel shared her best college application tips with us.
Ultimately, they brought spectacular energy and creativity to each meeting and pushed SPF to dig deeper. We would like to present these awards to Heather McCormick and Isabella from SCAT TV Youth Media Program for their remarkable support year after year.
So we do have just two more awards that we wanted to give folks. The individuals were not, all of these individuals were not able to be here tonight, unfortunately, but we do want to recognize Erica Jones and Stuart Rulke from the Somerville Media Center, SCAT TV, for their help with a production of a short documentary that we've done entitled From My Heart to Yours, and it is detailing the opioid epidemic nationally in the state as well as here in Somerville, and some of the things that we've done to address it, some of which I highlighted earlier on. And so I think it was a long time to get this 18 to 20 minute documentary done, but without them, it wouldn't have happened. So I think I'm gonna ask Heather to come back up and accept it on their behalf, but we really wanted to give a shout out to these guys. We'll take a picture. Holding their awards. And one more, three more individuals, but all of which were not able to be here tonight. Vanity Cruz, Mary Lou, Carrie Stanolo, and Aaron Jennings. So Vanity and Mary Lou both work for the schools and the public schools. So Vanity works at the high school, if you guys don't know her already. Mary Lou works with as a school liaison or parent liaison at the Winter Hill, but also is very involved in the Parent-Teacher Association. And those two, in conjunction with Aaron Jennings, who was our doctoral resident this past, I guess, year, really helped work on developing student and parent engagement in the schools in partnership with the public schools, and also in getting the marijuana and vaping conversation I talked about earlier happening. So we want to recognize these guys. I'll send it to Aaron electronically because I don't think he's in the area. He's graduating tonight, so man, priorities, huh? But Vanity and Mary Lou, I will be definitely dropping it off to them. So just a round of applause for those guys. And then this was lovely, this was Bonnie's youth that she recognized earlier on. So another round of applause for her as well.
Okay, so here comes some really special awards. We are going to start with SPF Junior. Thank you to SPF Junior. You heard earlier that about many of their important activities and accomplishments of this youth group to reduce youth tobacco use and underage drinking among their peers. Their creativity, contagious energy, and motivation make them outstanding young leaders. I'm really looking forward to working with them again next year, and we are all very proud of each and every one of them.
So at this time, we would like to present SPF Junior leaders with a well-deserved award of appreciation. When your name is called, please step forward to receive your award with heaps of gratitude. It might be...
That's SPF. All right, I'll figure it out. Okay, ready?
So the first individual will be Amelia Fariello. Next individual is Ariana Vaccariano. Next up, Ariana Ray. Next up, Cole Martell. Sorry, we did in alphabetical order, not by each one. We have a lot of SPF 100 apparently.
Okay.
All right, next person, Lily Pendleton. All right, next up, Luca Alcaraz Valens. Probably, my apologies for pronouncing it incorrectly, probably. Next up, Michael Johnson. Don't worry, guys.
We're getting to you. Yes.
Next up, Sylvie Gray Lore. If I pronounced it wrong, my apologies. And last but not least, Vivian Scott. You want me to take the picture?
Okay, yeah.
Perfect. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah.
Okay, squeeze in, you guys.
Make sure not to 2, 3.
Nice work. All right, now you have them
We won't
have
have
them
to
in alphabetical order
separate.
now.
Yes, now this one is.
All right.
Oh, you're first.
Yeah, yep.
All right, so thank you guys. Hope you enjoy those awards. But at this time, we would like to acknowledge and demonstrate our appreciation for the outstanding efforts of the SPF 100 youth leaders. You may have noticed from all the accomplishments earlier that SPF 100 have been very busy and hard at work to promote healthy behaviors here in Somerville.
These youth are an amazing group of young leaders. They are intelligent, creative, strong, kind-hearted, beautiful in every way. I've had the pleasure and privilege of watching them blossom into bold young leaders this year. They have made us proud, and I'm grateful for the experiences we've had together as a team. You're all destined to do wonderful things.
So again, when you hear your name called, please step forward to accept the award with our sincerest appreciation and deepest gratitude. Hopefully this will be smoother than last time. First up, Meghna Chhabra. Sorry. Next up, Kate Johnson. Ishavita Bali. Alexis Marie Brainard. And last but not least, Shrey Vashisht.
Sorry if I butchered your name. Yep.
Yes, of course. And at this point, we're going to have our closing remarks. So I'm going to invite Amelia, Ariana, and Luca to come up and close us out for the evening.
Yes, and now is a good time to, oh, is this one off?
Yeah, that one's better.
Now's a great time to get out your raffle tickets, if you have them tucked away, and your evaluations. We're going to come around with some pens for those.
Yeah, you can turn the lights on.
Hi everyone, my name is Amelia, this is Ariana, and this is Luca. And we are SPF Junior Leaders.
It is time to wrap up the evening celebration.
We hope that everyone learned something valuable about this prevention, and that you will share this information with your friends and family. Before you go, please take a moment to fill out our event evaluation to let us know how we can improve this event.
Also, please take the program because it contains information on how to contact SCAP and SPF to get involved. It is our mission to reduce underage drinking and substance abuse among youth in our community.
We have been able to achieve this goal every year. This is only possible due to your continued support and dedication. Please give yourselves a round of applause.
Now we would like to draw the winners for our winners. Get out your tickets, please. Can we have a volunteer to choose the winning ticket? Michael. The winner of this raffle is 757643.
757643. Seven five seven 462. Congratulations.
Remember, together we can make a difference and end drug and alcohol abuse. Thank you all for coming to our 15th SCAP annual meeting.
For those interested, we are happy to stay and answer any questions you may have. Drive safely. Good night, everyone, and we hope you have a wonderful time.
Oh yeah, what do you want to just give them to you? Yeah. So if you guys could take a chance or have a moment, just please fill out those evaluations and you can just hand them to Lovely as you're walking out the door. And we thank you again for coming out and have a good night. Luca, do you want to turn the light on?